The city of Bern is instantly recognisable due to the river that encircles this medieval town. What you may not know are the clever ways that locals use the strong currents of this river for both transport and recreation. When you first see it, it looks like so much fun, but it's also quite dangerous for tourists who may not be familiar with the strength of the currents and where they might lead. But we're going to rewind a little bit and kick off this adventure exploring the old town of Bern. The old town has very cleverly integrated modern day commerce into centuries old medieval buildings. Some of the more popular landmarks include the clock tower, cathedral, and the Bundesplatz building. You will also find a number of quirky little stores, galleries, distilleries, and sculptures scattered around the old town. Now, we were there in the middle of a heat wave, so of course we headed directly towards the water, and we had no idea what we were going to discover there. At first we were just admiring the blue-green colour of the water that really glows as it snakes its way around the town. The stone bridges and the mountains and the old buildings provide a really nice backdrop. But then, we noticed some people float past, so we decided to get a closer look. So we found a great spot where we could get right up close to the water, and that current was moving fast. It wasn't long before someone wandered down, threw in a big dry pack, and then just swam after it. And then another. And there was an almost constant stream of people coming down the river or jumping in right in front of us. As long as you're reasonably confident in the water, they made it look easy.
Now, we haven't once been prepared properly to swim in Switzerland, and this easily looks like the coolest spot to do so. I'm not sure at what point you get out. Everyone looks like they're actually going somewhere, but a lot of people just look like they're in it for the ride. The waterproof bag seems to be a must, otherwise I'd have to hold the car keys above my head the whole way around. Look, check out this chick. Just floating around. Doesn't seem to be going anywhere in particular. Just enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Do it.
This is so relaxing.
I had no idea this was even a thing.
Yeah.
So as much as I wanted to jump in, I didn't have a dry pack to keep myself afloat, and I didn't know exactly where this river would take me. So for now I just admired the bears on the opposite side of the river, and then decided to speak to some locals to find out what on earth was going on.
So this river activity was completely unexpected. The main river that runs around the town of Bern, there's an endless procession of people just floating down the river. The current's quite strong and it goes all the way around town, and the way it loops around is you can get out somewhere and you're not that far from where you originally started. There's a whole bunch of them. So we spoke to a couple of locals about whether they're, are they going somewhere or are they just doing it for fun? And they told us that some people will commute to work via the river, but usually they just do it for fun. So they'll jump in at one point, go to another point, hop out, and then walk back to where they started and do it again. And with the weather this hot, I can see why it's such a popular activity. Oh, geez, now people are jumping off the bridge. Oh. Anyway, so they also said there's a beginner's area further along the river, which we might go and try and find, where they've got like some practice things set up, because the current is very strong here. And if you're not used to it and you don't know exactly where you're getting out, it can be quite dangerous. So they said to get used to it first. Even if you're a strong swimmer, you should always have like an airproof bag that acts as a floaty while you're going around. And they did mention that every time they hear about a drowning in the area, it's almost always a tourist. So big surprise there. So I'm so keen to give this a try, but I don't have an airproof bag and I'm not that keen on drowning either. So I would like to find the beginners area though and have a paddle around there and see how I go, if we can find it.
So we walked along the waterfront to try and find this beginners area. We saw some really, really old buildings in a slightly different style to the rest of the old town, but it was seriously hot. Lucky for us, they have these typical Swiss water fountains everywhere, but geez, I wanted to jump in that river.
I have a feeling that might be the beginners area over there, but this does show why you need a little bit of local knowledge before you jump in the water, because if you come flying down here, you're either going to end up in this little channel, which runs into a big grated fence, or this way, where it goes off a waterfall, and neither of those are going to end well, especially because there's a really strong sewage smell back there. So it looks like the beginners thing is on that side, and then you got clear running around the town.
By this time, the sun was starting to go down and we'd worked up quite a thirst. So we decided to skip floating down the river. But this is certainly a bucket list item, and one day I want to come back more prepared and do it.
Burn, baby, burn.
At night, the Old Town really comes alive, with a lot of great restaurants and live music. If you couldn't tell from all the sweat on my forehead, it was still incredibly hot. Perfect time for a fondue and a pizza. With a wine pairing, of course. Now, Swiss cuisine doesn't exactly have a huge reputation around the world, but cheese and red wine, it's hard to go wrong.
It's too hot.
Oh, come on.
I can't just like...
We had so much fun learning all about Bern, and one day we're coming back to conquer that river.